Your Life and Sex Island, Chapter 6, The Life and Sex Island, page 182. We are continuing a little fairy tale here. We are looking at a little island. This is our Life and Sex Island. It doesn't rain there, but there is a cold, pure artesian well that pours onto the beach and into the ocean and provides the free spring water. We've got 2 or 3 dozen little families living together peacefully here. They've always used bartering to exchange goods, but it is becoming a problem to keep track of all that is bartered and owed. Fortunately, one of Joe's kids was a mathematical genius. They were of the Robinson family, Swiss, you know. This Joe's kid noticed that all around the island in the sand were hard, bright stones. Each stone was a single color, bright, clear red, blue, yellow, etc. Most of these special stones were the size of a golf ball. They, of course, had no goddamn idea what a golf ball was. I only use that comparison because the odds are quite good that you know what a goddamn golf ball is. The most abundant, though still rare, were the red stones. You would probably know them as rubies, and the green ones as emeralds. But what the hell? A red stone is just a red stone, though formed in the Vulcan furnace of the volcano. Some red stones were bigger and some smaller, certainly, but they could be reasonably estimated to have a specific relationship to each other by reasonable men and the women who did most of the trading. So that was not a real problem. There were quite a few of the red stones, but very seldom would new ones appear. There were not too many and not too few, which means there was just about the right amount. Joe said, "Let us call these red stones rocks and use them as a medium of exchange instead of all this goddamn bartering all of the time." You, of course, immediately recognize them as money, but fortunately for these islanders, the lucky bastards had never heard of money, and as such had no root of all evil. Yet. Everyone got along just fine. Ah, Joe, 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 Joe. Always the goddamn do-gooder. Couldn't you just have left well enough alone? No, Joe. Leave them go. Let it alone. Times is good. No need 1,000 troubles in a row. Invention is the mother of necessity. Or do I have that wrong? So with Joe's kids' direction and encouragement, the people gathered all of the rocks, the hard, clear red stones, in their baskets and dumped them in a pile on a barren stretch of hard, cold lava. They divided them equally among the families. They had some trouble at first. Some lighter colored guy wanted to give one darker colored family only 3/5 as much as the lighter colored folks. But it all worked out with justice after a while. Very quickly they worked out an exchange rate. So many rocks for a mahi-mahi, so many coconuts for so many rocks. It worked so well that there is no record of the exchange rate. Anyway, it was not fixed. It fluctuated according to the availability of this or that. It was quite marvelous, almost like an invisible hand, guiding and controlling the market. Everything found its own balance. If a family's pile started to go down, they either charged more for their specialty, if they could, or switched some of their efforts to a better paying specialty. There wasn't perfect equality, of course. Some families and individuals were better at this new gambit than others. New specialties arose. One of Joe's older brothers, Mac, did nothing but trade one thing for another, buying one thing and selling it for more rocks, making sure he kept a little of everything for himself. Slowly, some people impregnated the rocks with meaning and value that they didn't have when they were just lying freely on the beach. It was almost as if the rocks had life and inherent value in and of themselves. And what the hell? They were just red stones, not inherently worth a taro root. Some people seemed to almost worship the rocks, so much so that they would sneak some from the neighbors when they weren't watching, as though the rocks were more important than the friendship of the neighbors. Then, oh my God, then a very odd, strange, weird, wacky thing happened. Mac the trader, Trader Mac everyone called him, took control of the water fountain, the free spring water, like it was his and not Mother Nature's, like it was all his. He charged everyone a rock for a half coconut shell full of water and a small half rock for a clam shell full of water, the free spring water. He, Trader Mac, was just gathering stones like crazy from other islanders who had to buy his water or die of thirst. Some very wise man said, "There's a time to gather rocks and there's a time to cast away rocks." Now, if that ain't brilliant, what the hell is? It was Mac's time to gather rocks. Well, let me tell you, there were some hotheads who weren't going to put up with all that shit, so they came after Mac. Bunch of hooligans just wanting to take by fighting what they could not get honestly. But Mac, you guessed it, had more rocks than they did, and so he hired some of the big, dumb, lazy guys to protect him and to watch his water, the free spring water, when he wasn't there. That wasn't the end of it. The hotheads were not finished, not by a long shot. No siree, I could write a book about their envy, like class envy. It was pretty sickening. Just because they didn't think of it first. It was clearly intellectual property. Trader Mac's intellectual property. Wow, this could get serious. Hang on, I'll be right back. Buy the book by clicking on the link in the description below. I shall return.